Hey everyone, welcome to Collective Chatter. I'm your host Miguel here, my co-host Charlie. And today's episode, this is episode 49. We're going to be talking about the latest Funko news, the drops, and is Funko dying after the latest Funko stock drop?
Well, I hope Funko's not dying, but if you guys are listening to our podcast on all of the different platforms, as always, we really appreciate you listening there. But we also have that YouTube channel, so please come on, head over there, listen to us over there. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell so you know when new videos are coming out, and like all our videos, and make sure you leave some comments because we always like talking to the fans. With that being said, let's chat.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another great episode. It's episode 49. Like we said in the intro, we're going to talk about, like we always do, Funko news, a bunch of drops, a lot of cool stuff. Very exciting week in terms of like stuff that's going to be coming out. But we do want to talk about later on a specific thing that happened with the Funko stock. The actual stock has dropped drastically. And, a lot of people are saying Funko as a company is dying or what's going on. And we're going to kind of, give us our thoughts and what we think that's going on and et cetera. But we'll start it off with news like we normally do. So Charlie, you can start us off with something, right off the bat that that got you all excited because I know there was some pretty cool drops and some good stuff
Yeah,
that was
there's a
this week.
lot of stuff this week that I love, but the one thing above all that really got me excited was the Avatar pops. I think I mentioned this in one of our episodes like a while ago, like why don't we have Avatar pops? Um, and I think these look awesome. I know some people, have a love-hate relationship for this movie. I personally I like the movie. I'm a big James Cameron fan. It was obviously, way ahead of its time. It'll be interesting with this new movie coming out around the holiday time. Like, will it be as big of a hit as, the original was, or are people like, it's been, over a decade. I don't care. But
Yeah.
I'm super excited for these pops. Like the detail on them is amazing. It's mostly of the Navi, which are, the main characters, like that, the humans, well, not the humans, they are the people who live on Pandora, but then the main character who, has his avatar to go live with them. And like I said, I think they're awesome. The one thing that's interesting, they are for the original movie. So it makes me think like, will we be
Really?
getting, yeah, they're not for the new movie. Excuse me. So will we get a line for the new movie? Or is just their way of seeing if people are gonna even want to buy these? So I thought that was a little strange, but regardless, I think they're awesome.
Is there because I thought there was one that was announced in the line that's like a one of the newer characters. I could have maybe I confused it, but
No, it's weird. So excuse me. I'm looking at them right now. They're both of Zoe Saldana's character.
oh, it
One of
is.
her
Okay.
like just looking normal, and one of her kind of like in battle gear. And then the other is the main guy, Jake Sully, and one of him is a pop ride of him riding the
Mhm.
Banshee, and then the other one is just normal, and then the other one is the guy who's like in charge of like the military.
Yeah.
So none of the
Yeah,
new
I mean,
characters.
I think it was awesome. I was actually kind of surprised because I remember we were talking about it. I didn't realize there wasn't the original Avatar pops. And I was like, damn, they really never made these. And it just seemed like it would have made total sense to make these into pops. Um, the movie, I love the movie. I think it's awesome. And I think the next one's going to be great as well. I mean, visually
It looks
amazing. And
amazing.
obviously, yeah, it was such a great movie back then. And like, it's true. It's like almost now in a period where sometimes when you come out with them back to back during the hype, it's cool. Sometimes you wait a little bit and give a little bit more of like, I missed this. And then it seems like there's usually like a dead period where you just kind of don't care. But then after a while, I feel like it goes back into the like, I missed this stage. And I think we
Yep,
might be at
be
that.
there. I
So
agree.
like, yeah. So it's kind of cool that they're doing that. Personally, I think the pops like look okay. I think they look a
Oh,
little too because I think they look a little too like I don't even want to say cartoony because it's obviously an animated, thing. But I feel like they could have done them a little different, the mold, if I'm being honest. I think maybe it's just because they're just like
I'm
boom
happy we
out
don't
there with the
agree.
color. Yeah, but and I don't hate them. I definitely and like I said, I think it's great that we have pops. I just think I would have pictured them differently. The mold and maybe the paint jobs like not as like the way that they came out. I don't know. It's just kind of personal preference when it
Yeah.
comes to that. But I'm glad that they
Let us
have them.
know
I think they're pretty
in
cool.
the comments who you agree with on this, because I think they personally look amazing. Better than I would have expected. So it's interesting that
Yeah.
you feel
Okay.
the opposite. Yeah. They just, to me, they look super fresh and like new. Um, like I feel like
They
we haven't
do, and
really
that's
gotten
why I
anything
think
like that.
maybe that's why I think they look a little more like, because I thought they would have been more like the new movie, and the fact that they're the OG one, I just feel like they don't look like they are the OG one. Like in my opinion, just because they look so
Okay.
fresh and new and
I
not
get what you're saying
necessarily
by
like,
that,
what I'm
maybe.
saying?
Yep.
So I think that's kind of just the only thing that like threw me off. But yeah, I'm looking at them again here. But I mean, they definitely look sweet. I mean, it's cool that we have them.
Like the Banshee one, I think is like, I mean, I know it's a big pop, but I think that's
Yeah,
super cool.
yeah, and I think maybe that's the one that I was a little more like, this looks a little too like to me. And
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna get bashed about this, but it looks like the actual guy, cool, is riding like a Yu-Gi-Oh character. That's what I see. Like it doesn't look like the Banshee from the movie, in my opinion. I don't know. The Banshees, I feel like were a little. I don't know. It's maybe it's just the mold, like the actual stance,
Yeah,
like the
because
way
it's, I
the
mean,
Banshee is.
the Banshees definitely like Popeyes, like
Yeah, of course.
Fied or whatever. Like it just, which does make it look a little different because,
Yeah.
I feel like they do look a little more fierce than they do. I'm like looking at the
Yes,
picture
yes,
like
yes, yes. That
intensely.
that that's probably
Um,
what like part of it. That's what it was. It was more of that, not the just standalone pops. Like they look pretty cool. Like the colors are
yeah.
awesome. So either way, it's obviously getting us, talking about it on both ends and whatever. So it's definitely a great thing that they did it. I'm just surprised they never had them. So happy that they do finally have them. But yeah, that was an awesome line. Another line that we finally are getting more of, and it's a little weird, like it's a too late type of thing, is Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
So we're
that's my
getting
other.
Book of Boba Fett pops. We've talked about, a few times how this line was always one that was like really small. And they only came out with what, those three initial pops, I think it was. And
Two.
then
Oh no, three,
two,
because one
yeah,
was like a
only two.
scene.
Was it?
There was
Yeah.
them on the throne, which technically is from the Mandalorian. So there is only two. There's one of Boba and one of Fennec Shan, and that's it. Then they came out with
Okay.
the Khan one of Chrysanthemum, which is a
Yes.
repeat here, which I don't like, but I
Which I
expected it to
hate.
happen.
I hate that because the con one is a flocked one, which is cool. This is just a non-flocked one. It's almost like I'm okay when that happens the other way around. Like, all right, we come out with a common and then you want to make an exclusive later and change it a
Yep.
little bit. All right, that's cool. But the fact that it came out already as a flocked one and now we're just gonna get a common version, a little lazy, in my opinion. I feel like a couple of them seem a little like, because even the Cad Bane one, like that's pretty sick. But obviously we already had a Cad Bane one, but we just didn't have this like specific one.
Yeah,
So
we
now we're
didn't have a
getting another
live
version.
action version.
Yeah, we're
So
actually getting like that version, which I thought we were going to get right away. We all kind of said that, oh,
yeah.
they're going to come out with another Cad Bane one. We're going to get like the one from the live action, and we didn't. The Luke one is awesome. The only two that I'm a little like, the Mando and the Grogu, they're kind of just like repeating it, just change one little thing, and it's like kind of.
Yeah, I'm a little annoyed about the Grogu one because totally missed opportunity. And like, I'm sorry, like spoilers, but the show's been out basically for a year. I didn't even realize this until I read the box. It says Grogu with armor. This pop already exists. All they did
Oh
was
yeah,
put above him the little armor that he gets from Din
yeah,
Jar.
inside like the little chain thing
Yeah,
he's wearing, right?
like the
The
whole
chain metal.
pop should have just been that.
But that pop with him holding that little orb thing, like that one exists, right? They
Yes,
have that exact same
exactly.
pop.
I was like, why is this considered new? Until I read the box and I'm like, oh my God, that little tiny detail. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. Like this was ugh.
Definitely a weird line. Like it also makes you think, like, was this something that was supposed to come out a long time ago and it just kind of got pushed
That's
back?
what I think, and we'll probably. This is a great example of one we'll talk about later. I think with like the Funko stock and whatnot. Um,
Yeah.
there's no way they meant for this to come out now, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
just
little weird.
way too long. Um, even though I'm super pumped, like I love that Luke Skywalker one. It's awesome. But I mean, I
Yeah, yeah,
kind of agree
that
with
one is
you to
awesome.
the T. Like these were the Mando one and the Grogu one could have been better. These are kind of a little bit lazy.
Okay, at least we're getting more, and we're getting some in a line that we do, like.
Yes.
Um, but those are cool.
We'll keep the Star Wars train going though. So we got this year's version of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade Grogu float, which when I saw this get announced, I'm like, why are they like pretending this is new again? Then I'm like, okay, which I do think this pop is super cool. How it has like the employees holding the balloon like would happen in the parade. So that's kind of what makes this
Mhm.
one different from last year's. But I'll never forget this. Last year when this got announced, I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, oh my God, like I gotta get on. I gotta make sure this doesn't sell out. This like sat on the Funko shop for so long that they ultimately gave it away for free.
Yeah, they gave away that one pop as a
So
throw in once you spent a certain amount of money.
I'm surprised they're making
Yeah.
this again.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about beforehand when we were, going over what we were going to talk about on the episode. I mentioned it like I just think it's like, are we just going to get this every year now? And it's like not as cool and exclusive like it was the first time, where it's the first year and it's exciting. They're finally getting a float. Now we're getting a pop in like the float form. Like that was cool. But now we're just basically getting it almost in a sense repeated. And it's like, are they going to, give us a bunch of the t-shirt and all that extra, crap that we got last time?
That's all being
Like,
made.
because
They showed that.
yeah. Oh, jeez. So yeah, that's I don't know. I guess maybe if you missed the other one, but like you said, some of that stuff sat around for so long that I don't see it being that like big of a deal. And like I even think like there's a whole nother conversation we can have, but in the sense of holidays and stuff, I feel like when it comes to like merchandise and stuff, Thanksgiving is usually not the top of the list for a lot of people on like
No.
purchasing things. So it's like it's almost like a weird thing when it comes to that already. And then now we're like getting a duplicate almost like of these. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I kind of wish it was a
Um,
Macy's exclusive that you could only get like the day of the parade, which would make it a
yeah.
little cooler then.
Yeah, like
But
hand it out there type of
yeah,
thing.
something like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
what were you excited about?
Well, I was gonna say this isn't one I was excited about, but I did want to mention it because it is something that we're still getting, and I think it's ridiculous. But we're getting another art series wave through Target. We talked about it before. We get a lot of these with these damn, they're cheap versions of like a heart stack, and you pay a little
Yeah.
bit more for the pop, and it's not an actual art piece, but we are getting a Black Panther, Shuri, and a Miles Morales, I believe is what they announced.
Yep.
They don't really look good. Like I said in the past, for the most part, 95% of these in these lines I hate. There are the very few, like the OG Batman ones that I kind of like, really liked. I know you liked some of the Star Wars ones that they did.
Yep.
But for the most part, these things are hideous. They're just like a ridiculous piece, and it's on an already redone mold. It's not like they're doing anything unique. We're getting literally the same pops over again most of the time. So we're getting more of those. I mean, I don't know. Your thoughts, I'm sure, are pretty similar to mine.
Very similar. But the one thing I want to mention is like they just came out like a few months ago with Black Panther Walmart exclusive art series. When I saw this, I thought it was a mistake.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, it's just super strange. I
It's
think they're
true.
really Funko's really milking the Black Panther, which is one of my all-time favorite MCU movies, but with Wakanda Forever coming out, they're like trying to capitalize on anything possible. They even came out with a legacy collection at Target, which I mean, some of those are pretty cool. Like one was T'Challa sitting on like the throne in Wakanda, but like we're getting a legacy collection for Black Panther, but like no other MCU movies. It's just like it's just
Yeah.
interesting, not to and I'm a huge Black Panther fan, but it's just like those sales for those lines must have done really well, or they're like I said, they're just trying to capitalize on the popularity of the character in the moment.
Yeah. Which is sad, but I mean,
Yeah.
guess they gotta try to figure something out, right? Make money.
Yep.
But I hate them. I think they just look ridiculous
Yeah, they're
most of the
ugly.
time.
They're definitely ugly. And then the throwing the Miles Morales one in there is just kind of random. They don't go
Yeah. I
together
mean,
at
honestly,
all.
of the three, that one probably looks the better one of the three. but still like not. I mean, there's so many Miles Pops of that exact same mold
Mold. I agree.
with so many different paint jobs, and it's like, come on, like it's a Spider-Man. Like he could be doing so many different things, like of all characters, right? Like it's not like it's a Darth Vader where we've gone over multiple times where it's like you're kind of limited to what he's
What it
doing,
looks like, not for him.
but like it's a damn Spider-Man character. Like, come on, you could totally do so many different things with him. But
I
yeah,
completely agree.
whatever.
Oh, the other thing I want to bring up, we missed over it when we were talking about the Book of Boba Fett. There's also the entertainment exclusive one of the Rancor with Grogu like calming him down. I think that pops
I
awesome.
don't think I saw that one.
Okay, so it's definitely a pop deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's the Rancor with him like calming him down, which is kind of like in the finale of Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, yeah.
It's, I mean, this one's really cool, though. It leads me to believe, like, why didn't we get one of Boba Fett riding the Rancor? I feel like that would have
Mm-hmm.
been cooler. But regardless, I thought that was a pretty cool pop in the line. I didn't want to forget about that one.
Yeah. And I mean, I to keep it with Star Wars, there's also Chewbacca that was announced.
Yeah.
It was a flock. So this one specifically is a Disney exclusive flock Chewbacca. So this is for Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland, which is pretty cool. I'm assuming, is that going to be only at the park? Is it an only parks exclusive?
No, because I already have it in my possession.
Oh wow, look at that.
Yeah,
So
super.
through Disney Shop though, is that how you get it?
Yep, they put it up there. It's for Life Day, which is like the Christmas S type holiday from the Star Wars Christmas special back in the day.
Okay.
That like Chewbacca, like the Wookiees celebrate. And
Yeah.
they've ever since Galaxy's Edge has opened, they've really kind of like come out with special merchandise every year for Life Day. I mean, you need to be a pretty hardcore like Star Wars fan to like probably want this pop. But when I saw it, I thought it was pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I couldn't believe how quickly they shipped it out.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And like, I feel like you've some certain ones we've talked about where you order and then you've gotten them the next day. Like Amazon's done it once with you, I think. And
Yeah,
then,
it's
like these,
weird.
and like, it's funny that like certain ones of them they just have on hand, ready to go
Exactly.
in terms
Yeah.
of some of these exclusives. But yeah, that was a cool one. We also Target was pretty much in a lot of the news as well, because besides the artist series like stuff we were talking about before, we're going to continue that DC wave as well.
Yep.
So that like comic style DC wave, which I believe we started with Green Lantern, right? Then Flash was
Batman.
last week, so or Batman, yeah, Batman,
Yep.
Green Lantern, Flash. So it's already been 3. Wow. The next one coming out is gonna be Wonder Woman. So we saw the silhouette of that one. November 11th is when it actually will release. It's been every Friday, right?
Yep, every Friday.
Like the actual drop to Target. So pretty cool line. Like I said, I had mentioned it last time with the Flash one. We were talking about something like this. Not a line I'm going to collect, but it's pretty cool. It's not like anything that like I can hate against it. But so far the molds have looked pretty good. The Flash one actually afterwards when we saw the actual good picture of it, I thought was actually an awesome looking one. It's just that it's like, I think we mentioned this, like most of the molds have been kind of like somewhat redone. It's just like the big job of that whole like retro thing that has been different.
It definitely looks pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that was announced, kind of random, but I liked it, was Lord of the Rings Smeagol. It's a Walmart exclusive.
Yeah.
I know we've said this in the past, but like they randomly have just been sprinkling in Lord of the Rings pops here and there. I know we had speculated, oh, is this because of excuse me, the show on Amazon? At this point, definitely not. They're just, coming out with just new Lord of the Rings stuff. Maybe, it's been something that fans have been wanting because sodas are coming out. I think one of the rumored WinterCon ones is a Lord of the Rings soda. So they seem to be picking up
they
this
obviously
line.
have that license or something that they got kind of new, or they can just like redo it because there was something. But like, what do you think about? Because I have one of the OG Smeagol pops, and there's a lot of his pops actually. There's like a pretty big amount of his from like the older ones and the new ones. But what do you think about this one? Like, do you like the mold? It's a little funny looking to me.
But see, so I don't think they've ever made a pop of this part of his character. It's like when he's still like a hobbit before he's
kind of
fully
turning or whatever.
transformed
Yeah.
into like what we see full-fledged in the movies.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, because this is this so because I'm trying to remember. So this is in Lord of the Rings, not in the Hobbits
yeah,
like
it's in
line
Lord,
or
it's in Lord,
movies.
yeah, it's in
It
Lord of
is
the
okay.
Rings. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been so
Very,
long since we watched those
very
movies.
brief, very brief.
Okay. The
But
comments were kind of hilarious. So if you're looking at the picture, they were calling him Little Michael Jackson.
that's so, I mean, oh my God, I didn't even think of that. That's so messed up.
It's kind of like
Excuse me, I'm gonna like die of coughing now. It's hilarious. Oh my God.
that was
Now I
cracking up
can't get
with
that out of my like
I
mind.
know.
Yeah, that's weird. It's just so funny though. This pop though goes back to what we were talking about really, I feel like earlier on with the Avatar pops, like their detail and some of these pops have been like, in my opinion, extraordinary, but it may make them look weirder. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
It's almost
funny.
too detailed with
Yeah.
sometimes with some of them. Because
Which
I always found it like we talked about this in their basic talk about like Funko, but I always found it funny that like OG Funko Pops were literally super plain face with just
yep.
eyes, never had mouths or anything, and maybe a hairstyle or an outfit. But for whatever reason, if you knew who the character was, that little doll looked exactly like a human or a cartoon or whatever,
I
even
agree.
if it was super plain, right? Wasn't that
Yep.
weird that they were able to do
Totally.
that?
Which I think
So
made them
so
so
I totally
successful.
get what you're saying. Exactly. And I get what you're saying, whereas like now they're getting more detailed where you're like, okay, that's awesome. It looks just like it. But then it's sometimes it's like that's like too detailed sometimes because you're like, that looks a
Yeah.
little off because they're still funkified. They're still like, they're
Yeah.
not what are those damn characters that you always want, the super realistic Hot Toys. They're not like
Oh yeah.
Hot Toys where
No.
they're supposed to be like,
Look just
mirror
like them.
images. So yeah, so that is interesting. But that's a pretty cool pop. I mean, it's a Walmart exclusive, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So that line's definitely getting bigger. Like you were saying, like we're getting a lot of stuff, and even the sodas, like you were saying as well, a lot of sodas in the Lord of the Rings line. I think just the show being out kind of is a coincidence. Like you said, I don't think it's why
Yep.
they're coming out with more of these. Then we also had, so there's the WinterCon. So there's been a couple pops announced for WinterCon. There's going to be at different retailers. We got like Target, FYE, Amazon, Walmart, and a few of those are. So we have a Summon Skull, we have a Loki pop, we got a Hush, just like a Batman.
Yep.
We got Raven, Joker, Black Adam as well. I think that was
Yep.
all the ones I saw that are going to be coming out for this line. So
Another one though that you missed, which I think this is like so funny. This should have been a D23 pop. They have a Treasure Planet Jim Hawkins
oh
like
yes,
pop ride. Like this to me is like deep cut. Like if you're a huge Disney fan, I love this pop, but it's just like, why is this a WinterCon pop? Like it's super, super weird. Like this would have been such an amazing like D23 Disney fan event. Like this is what a pop like that should have been.
so with this WinterCon though, they're not stickered pops, right?
They're supposed
I
to
don't think
be.
I was seeing.
There's an
Is
image
it?
of this one that's leaked that doesn't have a sticker on it, but like I know the Joker
Yeah, that's
comic
why I was saying
cover
that of the one. Yeah, the one you're talking about, the
does.
Treasure Planet one. Okay.
It's weird.
Oh yeah, the Joker one.
But I don't even know. Like, I don't even think this is associated with an actual con.
So maybe they're just
I don't know what's going on
just
with this. It's
coming out at
weird
that time. Yeah, it's
because it's
interesting because
crazy
it
that
is say it's exclusive.
some of these are in retail stores already. Like some people have seen these in Walmarts, like the ones that they're getting, and these haven't
Mhm.
even officially been announced by Funko. So,
Huh. So actually, I'm looking through like some things here, and someone commented as saying that when you buy it, email Funko for a sticker showing receipt. I wonder what's talking about there.
interesting.
So they're like looking maybe because it doesn't have a sticker. I don't know. That's interesting. Because
Dude,
yeah, that
Funko,
picture that we're talking about.
speaking of that though, they've been so bad with that stuff. So I got the Lightyear Funko Shop exclusive, which was him wearing like the traditional Space Ranger suit that
Mhm.
he like wears in Toy Story. And it's just so funny. The other day, because I got one for my collection, I got one for my son, and I was like hiding his, and I like did a double take. I'm like, I didn't even notice when I opened it. It doesn't have a sticker on it. No Funko Shop exclusive sticker.
Not even a Funko Shop. Wow.
No. So I emailed them and they're
Neither of them.
gonna nope,
Both of
neither
them.
of them.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I emailed them and they're gonna send me the sticker, but it's just like, what? I'm assuming none of them have it. And I don't think if I didn't, if I wasn't like, okay, I want to hide this from my son, I don't think I would have ever like thought noticed it, which is just funny.
Hmm.
Like they're their quality control, whether not to get off topic, but like there's shipping issues these days. I've gotten packages where I'm missing items that I've ordered, not having stickers on it. It's like out of control. It's worse than ever.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
Not to
getting
get
pretty
not to get
bad.
on a tangent of that, but it's just like it's just so interesting now. Like we're getting cons sent to these stores without even those stickers on it. And I know some people, but if you're a Funko fan, well, we talk about this all the time. Like you want the sticker, like whether you like, it's crazy.
Yeah. And we'll kind of get into some of those
Yeah.
issues and things too later when we talk about the other topic we're going to talk about. Um, but what else we had? We speaking of Funko Shop, so I believe this is supposed to be a Funko Shop exclusive. Is there's a Baymax
Yep.
coming out with a chase, which is like a glitter like looking diamond chase or whatever.
Yep.
Um, not really interested in it. Like, it looks kind of cool. When I first saw it, I almost had a double take. Like, they're coming out with another soda because I instantly remembered this Baymax soda
Yep.
coming out. I'm like, they're doing another one. Um, but it's not. It's a. Is it a? It's not a 10-inch. I think it's just like a deluxe size. I
Yeah,
think
like a
like
6 inch,
a
I
like a
guess.
6-inch ones. Yeah.
Um,
Which I mean seems pretty cool, but not going after
if
it.
you're a Baymax collector, I think it's cool. I don't think it needed a chase. Because I don't know. Like if I was to get it, I think I'd want the common. Like it's just so funny because I know we talk
Yeah.
about this too. So many I haven't gotten mine in yet. I don't know if you've gotten yours. The Sanderson sister sodas. And I've watched so many people open them, and everything is exactly the same. Thank the Funko gods that I got the commons. You should not want to say that. Like, and I know myself included have been like hard on like chases, but like the chase should be better. So it's just like
Yeah.
funny that like I don't think anyone wants the chases unless you only care about the value of it. But the Sanders sisters, everyone wants the commons. It's just funny.
Yeah. No, I'm same way. I haven't got. I got a box in yesterday of some other sodas that I got through them, but I'm still waiting on those. Those, but I got two of each. So, like, if I pull a chase, that's cool. I
Of
mean,
course.
chances are one's going to be a common at least. So I'm just hoping to at least get one of each common. If I pull two chases, that'd be kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, I agree with you. The chases overall haven't been like the most like wow, like I need that.
Yeah.
But who knows?
But continue the Funko Shop exclusive route. We'd seen pictures, but a new Harry Potter Funko Shop exclusive came out, which if you're a Harry Potter fan, it looks pretty cool. Even though this is another pop, we obviously love Funko. We have a Funko podcast. I'm not trying to hate, but people have already seen this in hand, and Harry's missing the Gryffindor emblem on his cloak, which is clearly supposed to be on the pop. So now that's like another like manufacturing error that people
Yeah,
are just
that's
like,
even
Funko, what are you
more.
doing? Um, which I like this pop. I didn't order it. But that's like I'm curious once the masses start getting it in, was that like someone just happened to get one and it was an error, or they all messed up?
Yeah,
Excuse me,
which would be
everyone. I
crazy because
apologize.
that, like you said, that's before. That's not shipping. That's not
Yeah.
like putting it to. That's actually assembly of the actual pops and stuff. Yeah, that's nuts. We got this. I don't know if it's necessarily like a rumor. I think this is pretty for sure. But the problem is that it's not. There's no pictures or anything, but we are going to get an Ant-Man Quantum Mania line
Yeah.
supposedly in December is where we're going to get it. So makes sense. Obviously, that's the next big Marvel movie after obviously Black Panther, but we already got a ton of Black Panther pops already. So it looks like they're gonna try to do the same kind of thing where maybe they'll hit us with a line, and then maybe right before the movie comes out, we'll get another line. And it seems like that wave is gonna just continue with what they've been doing with the Marvel pops. It's kind of like it seems like that's what they're gonna do going forward. If they do it again with this movie, that's probably what they're gonna do, at least with the major big releases like that.
Yeah,
But pretty excited to see some of these characters from that movie specifically, just based off the trailer that was already dropped recently.
I completely agree. Another thing we got, I
And then
mean,
we had
no, you can go.
go ahead.
It was a big line. I know neither of us are gonna get them, but I feel like we should mention it because I'm sure some of our viewers may. Is the new Care Bear pops? There's like a
Oh yeah.
decent amount of them. A bunch of them come with chases. Not something we collect, but it's definitely
Yeah.
a big new line, which I feel like if you are a collector of those, they're probably pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty big line. And it's yeah, not anything I've ever had interest in, but
Yeah.
of course if you are, you can get a bunch of them because this wave's pretty big um of the Care Bears. And then I wanted to transition to a couple things on the NFT front. So we got some
Yes.
NFT news. We always talk about NFTs every drop. Very excited for the most recent drop, of course, which was the WB horror wave, which I know we kind of went into a little bit last time. Very excited for, what that line came and what we were able to pull. Amazing stuff. But the next one up is so it seems like they're staying with Warner Brothers, like we
Yeah.
mentioned. So they're really gonna try to pump out a lot of stuff in that IP and stuff. But we're getting Matrix. So Matrix NFTs, pretty pretty cool looking so far. There's only been like that quick little video. We had a couple pages posting a few, maybe some pictures, some screenshots of some stuff. It looks like we're getting like a Neo Legendary. We're
The
getting a
Trinity.
Twins, a Trinity one, and then that Twins one seems like. And I saw someone post, and it was like, "Is this going to be the first two
First two
pack
pack. Yeah.
of NFTs for Funko?" So that would be pretty cool. Wonder what the Grail is gonna be because it doesn't look like they've shown that yet. And obviously maybe we'll get a Freddy Funko again as something in the Matrix. Maybe Freddy
I
Funko as
yeah, I feel like it's gonna be Neo or Agent Smith.
Morpheus would be pretty sweet.
That would
Used
be
to do
pretty cool.
Freddy as Morpheus.
That would be
That'd be
cool.
pretty sweet. I feel like the agents. I feel like that would be like a cop out. Like they could totally do that, but I feel like it'd just be like him in a suit. It just wouldn't. Like to me, I feel like it'd be kind of like, but it's a pretty cool line. I'm not like I like the Matrix. I'm not like a diehard fan. Like I know there's obviously some people that are super diehard about it. But it's a cool enough line. I think in the NFT space, it's probably gonna look really cool. The cards are gonna be amazing. I'm sure
Yep.
they're gonna have like some kind of cool looking animation and stuff. But what are your thoughts, kind of the line? Or
I'm along the same lines as you. Like, I'm a Matrix fan. Definitely love the first one. Then, like, I don't think the rest are as good, but like I said, I'm a fan. I'm gonna go after these just because I love going after the NFTs, but I definitely won't go crazy. I'll try to get like not a lot of packs and just I want to try to
Mhm.
get some and try to pull some redeemables, but I don't know. Excuse me. I'm getting a little tired of it just being I know they made a big deal with them, but just Warner Brothers properties.
Mhm.
I don't know what your opinion is on that, but like it's gonna come a point where like they're really gonna have to stretch where like I don't know if the Matrix, I don't know, like it's weird. Like we're not I feel like we always get super special pops with this. And like I know the twins, I guess, kind of is, but you're getting the Neo, we're getting a Trinity. Like those pops exist. It looks like from
Yeah.
some of the rumor pictures, it's gonna be pops of them in like the slow motion, which is awesome.
Mhm.
But I don't know. It's just like I don't feel like the Matrix is worthy of an entire line, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I get. I think it's a big enough fandom and a big enough, and there was a few movies and stuff like. I feel like there's enough characters that they could do a line. It's probably not going to be. I don't know if the numbers have come out yet, but I'm assuming it's not going to be a bigger line. Like I don't see this being
It's not.
like
I think it's like 18K.
Yeah, so that's not crazy, which means
No.
it'll be probably more than anything. What I feel like they've been doing a lot of, and I feel like they're going to continue to do it, and we've seen it a lot with the horror one. I do want to say it's probably the one I'm talking about, or actually the Halloween one, even where you'll get literally a handful of the actual specific characters, and then you get like a common of them and an uncommon of them. It's not like you're getting different ones. You're getting the same one, just like in black and white, or one in color, or one's moving and one's not moving as much. And they're doing a lot of that, which is kind of annoying because it's like they're just putting extra cards in just kind of for no reason, I guess, to make it harder to get a damn royalty or something. But I want like multiple different characters. I feel like some of the older lines, we got more of that, more variety of like
Yeah, we did.
actual like different characters. So I'm like surprised that this is one of them. It's just interesting because back when we were like, oh my God, WB NFTs are coming. Do you remember that? And like the
Yep.
first thing we thought of was Batman and DC. Like that's what we first were like, WB, that's gonna be DC all the way. And we didn't really think about too many other properties that they
No.
have, but they've kind of just stayed with that. And like obviously they have other licenses, I'm sure, but I don't know if they're just gonna run this one dry and then transition to something else, or we'll get an announcement that'll say like Marvel license, whatever. Let's say that was the one. Then knowing that that would be next, or if we're just gonna hit us with something random again or something different. But it seems like that's their big line. I mean, there's still obviously other stuff that's gonna come out in this in Warner Brothers. I'm sure we can think of, but
Yeah, I mean, I want a Harry Potter one. And it's funny, like now I'm rethinking, I'm not like hating on the Matrix. I do love the Matrix. I'm just like, I'd rather have had a Harry Potter just as a perfect example. Or I do think it would have been cool to do. I actually really liked how they did WB horror. Like I never would have expected them to make a genre set
Mhm,
from a company. I kind of wish we kind of did like maybe WB action and
mhm.
or sci-fi and like Matrix was included. Like
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I'm like thinking about it like I don't think they make many Matrix pops from the OG's characters. I think there's like an agents, and everyone correct me if I'm wrong. Like there's a Trinity, there's a Neo, there's an Agent Smith probably, and there's a Morpheus.
Well, then
I know
they came out with the new line,
they did for the new movie,
the
but I'm sorry, that
new
movie's
new
garbage.
movie. Yeah,
um,
but they had at least like a Neo of
they
that,
did.
and they
You're
basically
right.
kind of just did a few of those,
You're making
but
me think
nothing
like
OG.
that. Those probably going to be like most of the cards are going to be those four characters that I just
Yeah,
named.
it's gotta be.
Which is why you can't have a Matrix like NFT set probably without having like a Neo pop. But the one thing, and I've said this in the past, like I love that we were getting like these like niche, not like perfect example, the retro comics one. I loved that you could get like a Bluto pop from Popeye. That does not exist. Like that is like the only one they've made. I wish they continued to kind of do that, which I feel like they just kind of even did with the WB horror. Like I know we have a nun pop, but like they made it with that painting, which was just super cool. I don't think there's a Crooked Man pop. Like I don't want to name them all off, but
Yeah,
like I feel like even with Scooby Doo, there's tons of Scooby Doo pops. All those NFT pops, for the most part, I think were all brand new.
yeah,
It
and it
doesn't,
also was there was also more characters to choose from that you're gonna fit into like four, three legendaries, four legendaries,
yeah,
Grail, whatever it may be. Whereas this seems like there's only that many, so each one of those is probably gonna be one of the legendaries. Whereas
exactly.
with the other lines, we were kind of picking and like guessing, like, oh, what's it gonna be?
Yeah,
With the Game of Thrones, we were like, oh, who's gonna be this one? Okay, there's this character or that character, and there was plenty to choose from, and then they surprise us, whatever they decide to go with. So I get what you're saying. Like
and I
this
guess
could
the
have
Game of
totally fit into like an
Thrones,
action or sci-fi type of thing.
yeah, and it's funny. The Game of Thrones pops, I guess, were repeats too, but they were characters wearing like at different parts of like their
Hmm.
journey in the series that we didn't have a pop of. And I know the
Hmm.
twins is definitely a pop. I don't think that exists, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, I don't think
But
so
there
either.
aren't enough characters. I mean, all in all, I don't want to go like in circles, but it's like I'm excited for it, but I hope they don't continue to like do these lackluster drops with what I'm predicting this to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. Let us know what you guys think though,
Yeah,
because maybe we got some big Matrix fans out there. Like I said, I know that there's a cult following in that sense. Like people probably love it. So if you are and you are an NFC fan, like what do you think about this line, and what do you think are some the redeemables and things going to be? But we'll still be interested in trying to pull some
of
packs, see if we can
course.
get some redeemables either way. But we can kind of go into now one of the big major topics we wanted to cover. I know we've been hinting towards it a little bit with a few different things and what's been going on with Funko. But it was just this news that broke a couple of days ago in regards to Funko, the company itself, and their stock. So essentially, what got updated was saying that Funko stock went down over 50%, is what the drop. I believe it was one day a record decline. About 53% is what they actually dropped.
Yeah.
Pretty, when you see it right away, you're obviously like, wow, that's insane. And you just see the title, stock drops over 50%, whatever it is. It's all kind of based off of a bad third quarter that we just, they recently just ended. But I wanted to kind of dig deep into it because I was like, me and Charlie went over, and we obviously know they're still making money, they're still selling. So like, there's got to be different reasons to this. Whereas it's more like a clickbaity title, like, oh, you're gonna think Funko's dead, right? Like I said in the beginning. But just kind of off of a couple of articles and things I was reading into, essentially what was happening. So there is inventory issues. So they have had a lot of inventory issues, and especially when it comes to the inflation and everything that's going on now in this economy, it's really been impacting them as a company. Based off of this, essentially what people are saying, like in the, I'm not big into stocks and the stock market and all that kind of stuff, but that world of people, they're basically saying that this company is a company that doesn't seem like they can last through a recession, for instance, or not that they can't last, but maybe they'll just kind of skate by, but they're not going to like grow or do what some other
Yep.
companies can do. And it makes sense because we talked about it before, where this is not a necessity type of thing. This isn't food. This isn't clothes. Like it's figures that
It's a
people are
luxury.
collecting, right? It's a luxury. So whenever there's a recession or there's inflation and prices and things are going up, it's going to affect these type of businesses, which makes sense. Specifically with Funko, what's been happening is an interesting number is that their revenue has been going up. So the actual like numbers is pretty interesting. Is they estimated at $319 million. They made 365. This is in that quarter. So it went up 36%. So when you see that, you're like, all right, well, they're making money, right? So what's the issue? A lot of it is stemming from their gross margins going down, products, things are getting more expensive, which we know that that's happening with literally almost everything.
Yeah.
So everything is more expensive to buy, to make, whatever it is. And then this one I thought was interesting is that specifically they have an increased money they're putting into their infrastructure. And I think this one's an interesting one because we talked about what I base this off of. We've talked about this a lot when it comes to their website and their new warehouse and all these things that they're doing that they're trying to like help, right? Where we see a ton of issues. And Charlie brought it up earlier because I wanted to kind of like throw it
Yeah.
over to you when it came to this, when you were talking about, shipping and issues with that. And like, that's clearly been a big problem. And
Yes.
it seems like that's another reason why a lot of this stuff is happening. But some examples you can give, like I know you've dealt with stuff. I mean, I have personally as well, but like,
Yeah, I'll rattle them off. I mean, I've ordered purchases where I'm missing items. I'm missing or not missing. They're pretty damaged. I mean, it's just funny. We've joked on the podcast before, like Funko doesn't care about the boxes because they say they're supposed to be taken out, but they also know there's half of, probably at least more than 50% of their audience wants the box to be in mint condition. But they've now made if you're buying it from the Funko shop, those new cardboard like flap things that they put pops in. Whenever you get it, 3-in-1, one of them is going to be damaged. And as I said earlier, the whole Lightyear Funko Shop exclusive missing a sticker. Like it's even, I noticed someone the other day, they got a New York Comic Con official sticker mailed on one of their pops from Funko that they ordered online. Like, awesome for you, but
Yeah,
like
that's
that just
great.
shows another thing. Just like their entire new infrastructure and their assembly line that's going on in, I think, their new warehouse is, is obviously experiencing growing pains, but like they're not good in my opinion. They're frustrating fans, and it's not what I've come to expect. It's funny. I think Funko shipping keeps getting worse and worse. It's also taking longer for us to get stuff. It took me like over a month to get my D23 order. I was like, what is going
Yeah,
on?
same.
Stuff when that was damaged, missing. It's just like, I don't know. It's really frustrating because, like I said, I used to expect something from the Funko shop was going to come in pristine, and it did. And now over the past few years, it's just the complete opposite, which I find crazy for that's their core business.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. It's been messy. We've had multiple different episodes that like touched on different shipping issues or different delays, or when it came to the cons and not getting the pops that they were supposed to get for cons and then pushing them back, and that whole fiasco of New York Comic
yeah,
Con, like a bunch of stuff that we were like, what in the world's going on? And like it was clearly a lot of issues that when you're like a big collector where we buy stuff on the daily and like we're really into it, we notice it more than like maybe just your average random person
person.
who
Yeah,
buys a pop out at a store, but this obviously has been affecting them, and like overall, like it does look bad when you see like investors pulling out and them losing a lot of this, because the way I was reading into it that they're saying is like this company just seems like one, they were saying they've had a lot of lingering credibility issues, so there must be multiple problems that have happened in the past for people with this
yeah,
company. And I mean, it makes sense when we start breaking into like that aspect of it, where it's like the shipping issues and the pricing and all that kind of stuff, whatever. But it's interesting to see like where are they going to be, because they're projecting right now that even into 2023 they're going to still be having these struggles. So the people that basically will kind of let like, okay, this is a good company to purchase or this is not, they're not recommending investors to really put money into Funko right now, because they don't see it like really going anywhere for a while, at least during this time of like a recession where we're having a lot of these inflations and all these issues. Because they're projecting right now, which is actually kind of crazy, that their fourth quarter numbers are really not going to be good. And that's usually Funko's best because of the holidays. And that's normally, which makes sense because holidays, shopping and retail and that kind of stuff is usually booming. For these type of items, that's usually when a lot of people buy gifts and buy, like you said, it's not a necessity but it's a luxury, but at the same time it's a great gift for people and that kind of stuff. But if we lose those and just us as like pure collectors, because we're going to still buy them when we can and get them. But I've heard a lot of YouTubers, Instagram, or just random people online that happen to collect pops that are slowly buying less and not collecting as many or getting rid of a lot of pops. So it is interesting when you hear the whole like, is Funko dead? And I don't think it's dead in the sense of like that it's going to be gone and we're never going to see it. But I can see a shift in things slowing down for a little while, with an overall mass of collectors, if that makes any sense.
no, that does make sense. And I mean, part of Funko's new business strategy is not necessarily towards the like quote unquote collector who's trying to. I mean, I say this all the time. Everyone knows this about me and Migs as well. Like, we collect because we love to collect. So that doesn't bother me. But Funko has, really up production on like a lot of their pieces, what we call commons. And that is pissed off a lot of people in the community because then they're like, this is worth nothing. I I,
Hmm.
I don't buy Funkos because I think one day it's gonna change my life. I buy them because I'm a huge nerd and I love looking at them and like I just like collectibles. But not everyone is that way. So I also think that's another issue, kind of like you just said, people are not as interested anymore because we're not getting those like super limited pieces or back in the day you could buy a common that ultimately becomes a grail I
Mhm.
feel like that could happen maybe once in a while now, but like it's not gonna happen like it used to
Very rare.
because
Yeah.
there's tons of them. So that is another issue. Like I think Funko kind of grew a little too big too fast. And that's also hurting them as well because you
Mhm.
can only you can't keep up that rapid growth forever.
Yeah. And I think they're also like on that point, I feel like they're they're spreading themselves too thin where they're just
Yep.
putting themselves into too many different avenues, and they're like trying to come out with multiple different lines and products. And it's affecting their main source of line, which is obviously the pops, and then maybe sodas will be next. But like it's interesting because this is kind of like the opposite. But remember back maybe a year ago or so, the amount of terrible stuff that was going on with the sodas, missing pogs,
Yep.
wrongly printed pogs, chases and comments, literally a completely different figure in a
In the
different
can.
can, like craziness. And that actually has stopped. Like I feel like I have not seen issues. I have not seen people pulling
No.
that in like the last few months to this year, let's say.
Yeah.
I have not seen that. So like it's interesting that like that got fixed and it's good. But then now like we're seeing more issues with shipments of Funko Pops or just items in general missing, and more of like a logistical like problems or them delaying things for a super long amount of time. And it's like that's where it's like it's almost worse because now you're like what's going on up top? I know there was a change in, the higher ups. So there's been a lot of changes with that. Like, is that something to do with it? Is that affecting it? I think honestly, in my opinion, there's like multiple factors.
Yep.
I think maybe that's part of it. Maybe the team that's running, doing this, doing that, the economy right now, people not buying things, like all of that's kind of hitting at the same time. And it's almost like a perfect storm of where like you see something like this where a stock in a day will drop more than it's ever done. And not be as like surprising when you're like us, where you know the ins and outs more than just your generic, person who maybe just like knows of the company or
Yeah.
has a few pops here and there. So it is interesting. I just wonder what's going to happen based off of like what people are saying and what they're projecting out. Like it may be in this little period for a little while where we might see stuff like this. Now, if it starts to affect like their revenue and like what they're making, like we already saw a price increase in items. Remember that happened within the last
Yep.
year or whatever. Like, is there going to be more of an increase? Like, are they going to raise prices on certain things again? Um, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know. I don't know like what like maybe is Target finally gonna raise their prices? Because they never did when the first ones
I
raised their
know.
prices when Funko did, right?
What's weird too, like I think another big problem is just the supply chain issue, which is not just Funko, that's like a
Yeah.
nationwide problem. It just really affects Funko in a specific sort of way because, that's why we're pre-ordering stuff, we're not getting it for X amount of time.
Mhm.
Or that's why unfortunately Target ultimately cancels some orders because they never got their shipments from Funko. And then they're just okay, we're just canceling these because we don't have room in our warehouse. We don't want that SKU anymore. Um, and it gets frustrating as a collector because we wanted those items, but there's nothing, unfortunately, right now. Like that's a real issue in the world,
Mhm.
which that I do think is a huge, you know, factor into what happening to the company's bottom line and their stock as well. And, hopefully that does get better sooner rather than later. But I ultimately do think we're going to start getting less maybe store exclusives. And I'm wondering now, after we hear this news, why Funko is starting to sell some of the store exclusives on their website
Mhm.
because the retailers were canceling their orders and they had this product. So they're like, okay, we're going to put it up on our website because it does seem to like Funko's demand on their website hasn't really strayed. But I think this is really affecting them as a company by pumping out all like Targets and Walmarts of the world. They don't need Funkos in their store. I feel like Hot Topics and box lunches, like they kind of do a big part of their
Mhm.
business, probably is people buying Funko Pops, weirdly enough. So I also think that'll be interesting as well to see if we stop getting less store exclusives. And it's even an issue too, like I know we joke about it all the time. Like we cannot go to a Target really and find like any Funko Pops. I used to blame it, oh, maybe, my area people are collecting, maybe this, people who work there taking them, but maybe they're just not getting their
Mhm.
shipments. Because I mean, I know there was a day where I could go to a store and get a Funko Pop that I like kind of wanted, knowing it came out. Like that just doesn't exist anymore. So that's just a whole other thing,
Yeah.
which then causes issues as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's like multiple. I think the popularity of things
Yep.
had to do with that, but then also, yeah, of course, there's multiple issues. But it is interesting because I mean, I'm sure with these retailers, like even something basic as like shipping, right? Shipping costs has been going up a lot lately. Like, and
Yep.
I know that personally because my wife has her own business and she has to ship certain things out, and the pricing's always been fluctuating
Fluctuating.
lately. It's gone up, and obviously during the holidays it always goes up and that kind of thing. But as a company, they're still, like you said, with these shared exclusives, they still have to ship everything to Target. They still have to ship everything to Walmart's, and then they, handle them with their stores, etc. So, like, yeah, it's like an extra step. Whereas when they're just, at the Funko warehouse and they can just ship them directly from their website and, go to whatever, it's probably easier, probably costs less, and it might
Yep.
help them. But it does affect the whole, like, well, it's exclusive to a certain retailer, so why am I getting it through this one? So it is always like a back and forth thing that we're gonna have to deal with. But I could see them slowing that down. I could see them. I could see just overall lines in general slowing down. Like I could see them like just coming out with a few pops here and there. I could see, if you really think about it, and we talked about this before, we've kind of already been seeing this, and we haven't even thought about it. Soda production and soda lines that have been announced have really slowed down. And
Yep.
we're getting them here and there, but we were getting them
Like
on
every
the
week.
regular every week. And it was like five, six, boom. Next one's 5, 6, boom. Now we're really only getting like the con ones. We'll get a con announcement with some
Yeah.
sodas and a couple here and there, or maybe some exclusives, right? We must be getting Funko Shop exclusive sodas or Entertainment Earth, whatever it may be, but we're not getting even
We're not.
those. I just thought about that. I haven't thought about that in a while. And being a huge soda collector, I guess it's just kind of been like in my mind, I'm like, well, I don't want to spend ridiculous amount of money. So like it's almost like I've been telling myself that, oh, I just haven't tried to spend money. But when I think about it, there's not as many sodas coming out. And it's like, luckily, I don't have to spend money because they're not coming
Yeah.
out. With pops, it's not there. We're still getting them. We're still getting waves, but I could see
That's
it
their bread
slowing
and
down.
butter.
Yeah, I could see it though slowing down where like this type of thing that's going on and their bottom dollar and things getting, increase in cost to make these products. And if they're not going to raise the price, they're probably not going to just keep manufacturing too many that they can't put out because they're having issues with shipping and distribution. And if that's a problem, they got to think about it like, okay, maybe we need to fall back on like not having 100,000 common pops of something,
Yeah.
So it is an interesting like dilemma that we're gonna probably see. And if based off of these people are saying like it's gonna go into next year, I mean we're already in November, so I could totally see it going into next year. It makes sense, but hopefully they come out on the other end of it. But I don't, like what do you forecast them doing? You think I mean, I ultimately don't think they're gonna like go out of business and they're like
Yeah. I
dying
mean,
out, but
I
do you see it slowing down and then trying to get back to where they were, or do you think it would ever be back to the last couple years where it was really booming?
it's funny. I think a lot of this is being taken like out of context a little bit. Like, I think Funko's totally fine. We're as fans are not gonna. Um, I don't even know if we'll actually really notice anything as a consumer. Maybe prices will go up. Maybe they can stop making lines as huge, which like we may notice, but we may not because I don't think it's going to be such a drastic where it's like, okay, a new movie comes out, we only get two pops. I do
Yeah.
think the pandemic helped not just Funko, but tons of collectibles, tons of hobbyists. Like I
Yeah.
always loved Funko before that, so maybe I didn't realize it as much. But you're right, like the growth over these past few years has been ridiculous. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna continuously just keep growing Funko, but like I don't think we're at a point where Funko's going anywhere. Maybe they will stop making games like board games, for example,
Mhm.
just like to throw one out there. But like I'm not too worried as a fan, and I don't think, I mean, yeah, everyone over at Funko is probably pissed off about this with, not wanting to like, upset their shareholders, but I don't think anyone there is like, thinking that they're going to lose their job, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I don't see that either. Um, but you brought something up interesting. So obviously with the pandemic, I kind of got introduced to Funko a little bit before that, but right around that time, right? Yeah, no, it was before the pandemic, but I wasn't like a hardcore collector. Like that's when I
Yep.
started collecting them, right? But the pandemic definitely made it easier to get into that type of thing, and you couldn't go anywhere, so you just bought things and they shipped them
Yep.
to you. And then that's when I started my YouTube channel, really in the prime of that, and that's what a lot of people also did. But I have, and I don't know if you noticed, but I mean, I do follow or watch a lot of the channels or a lot of people on Instagram, and I don't, it's not just one or two, it's a good amount. I have noticed though that now a lot of the people that, because you were collecting beforehand, so you're gonna have a little bit
Yep.
different of a aspect of this, but outlook of this. But a lot of the people that got into collecting and really, in my opinion, blew up Funko, like you said, during the pandemic, right? A lot of them now that it's basically over, the pandemic's done, getting back to the real world, even though we're going through craziness going on. I mean, maybe that's also factoring in that, everything going on now with the prices, inflation, and stuff. Um, they've like slowly been getting away from wanting to collect Funko. And a lot of channels have stopped, like totally stopped. The channels no longer exist anymore. They're not collecting anymore. People are selling their stuff off like crazy. And I've seen a lot of those. And those are those people that I think just got into the hype because there was nothing else to do and they were bored
Yep.
and they started buying things. And with those people gone, it doesn't mean Funko's not going to exist. Of course not. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I guess my point is like when I said, like, do you think it'll keep booming again? Do you think it'll just go back to pre-pandemic where it's like a great company and it's like cool and it's doing its thing? But in my opinion, I don't see it going back to where it probably was its biggest, which is during the beginning of the pandemic.
Agreed. I think it'll be in between. I still think like they're going to be doing much better than they were pre-pandemic. I mean, it's just so hard to think back. Like, I know that wasn't
Yeah.
that long ago, but like, but you're right. Like, I've been always collecting Funko, but I do remember like people were like, what is that? Now I feel like everyone knows what a
Hmm.
Funko Pop is. And yeah, maybe you're right. Like, because I even read the other day, like sports card sales are going down too. There was
Yeah. And
times where it
those
was
were things
like,
that blew up during that
yeah, like they
pandemic
were
too.
impossible to get at retail.
Yeah.
People were
Pokemon
lining up.
cards.
Yep. And now it's like, okay, yeah, you can go find boxes of these like cards now in the store.
Mhm.
Um, but I also think that goes a little bit in hand too. A lot of people looked at this was a quick way to make a buck during the pandemic, which also now they're like, okay, like maybe I'm not in this game anymore and I'm just gonna get out of it and call it a day. Make what I can back, and like you said, they're just not collecting anymore because there's a lot of people who do that, and that helps Funko as well.
Hmm.
I also think that's why we're getting a ton and ton of NFTs because that's really easy for Funko to do. A lot of people are into it. I just don't want to get to a point where people are like, revolting because they're not getting their physicals because of the issues. But I think that's why we're getting
Yeah, that's
so
got to
many
get fixed.
NFTs because I mean, they're all obviously just digital files. So like the amount of money, like we're NFT, like, I mean, I definitely am an NFT believer. I feel like you are now as well. There's a lot of people who are ignorant to them and don't understand them. So if you ever have questions about NFTs, feel free to come to me or research it. But I think that's why that like the amount of money Funko's making when those drops happen is insane, and it costs them really nothing.
Hmm. Yeah, well, especially when when they're like supposedly don't have these even physical ones made, and they still they still have to
Yeah.
make them afterwards or whatever the case may be with that. But it is interesting because the more they come out with, and it's funny because it almost like it makes you forget that you even had a redeemable from 7 drops ago
Yep.
that you redeemed, and you forget that it's even supposed to be coming because there's such delays, and there's a new one coming out, so like you just
Exactly.
get your mind into that. And it's, I mean, it's happened with me personally because like I have a Nickelodeon redeemable that I redeemed, so like obviously at one point I'm waiting for it now, and there's multiple times where I forget that I even still haven't gotten that pop yet because
No.
I'm like, oh, this is another drop that came out. Oh, I got these redeemables. Can't wait to get these in 2 years, because that's basically like what's been going on. So it's
Yeah,
definitely interesting.
which does suck.
Yeah. Um, but I mean, definitely let us know. I mean, this will definitely be a topic I would love to hear from people.
Yes.
Comment if you guys are watching on YouTube. If you're not, usually we try to put a poll or a question or something on the actual podcast.
Yeah.
Like if you're actually listening. But otherwise, come over to the YouTube channel because we love, showing off what we're talking about, anyways. But with this specifically, I would love to see some comments of you guys and your thoughts on, the whole stock drop in general. What do you think this means for Funko? Do you think Funko's dying out, or if not, do you think Funko will come back from this, or what are just your thoughts in general? Like, I know we talked about a lot of different things in relation to this, but um, I think it's an interesting topic. It's a thing. It's a company that I think we both are passionate about. So we're gonna continue to collect and do what we can, but it's gonna be interesting to see how this affects smaller collectors, really big collectors, and everyone in between. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys think about this, but definitely let us know. But I think that's going to be it for the
Yeah.
episode for this week. Again, this was episode 49. We really appreciate you guys all support. We've been gaining a lot of subscribers.
Yeah.
Finally, we're on a
Thank
little bit
you.
of a roll. So we really appreciate you guys surpassing 250. Like we're really doing pretty good. So Charlie will let you know where to follow us and everything, and then we'll talk to you again next week.
Yeah. So as always, make sure if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and keep those comments coming, especially like Meg just said, like this was a very interesting topic. So we want to know what everyone thinks. Make sure you hit that notification bell. I can't stress that enough. So you know when our new videos come out and you can come watch them immediately and give us those likes, because that really helps spreads our videos throughout, the YouTube algorithm, which we, really, really want your help with. So we really appreciate it. And also make sure you're following us on social media, not only at Collector Chatter on Instagram, but come follow both of our channels. So we got Pop Migs and then Collector Charlie. Our handles are right
Mhm.
below if you're watching on YouTube, but if not, like those are our handles. So please go Pop_Migs and then Collector Charlie on Instagram. So with that being said, thank you as usual for all your support, and we really, really appreciate it. And until next week, later, everyone.
Bye, everyone.